Just wait for a minute.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Oh, you have come, Surekha Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji and Surekha Mataji, you both are co-hosts. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Let us start with the prayers as we always do. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yes.
Very clear, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Very energetic
Start
also,
of-
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we start with the prayers so that we get mercy of the Lord to understand what we are supposed to understand, rather than all those wrong understandings. We get the message of the Lord very clearly and can put that message into practice and get relieved of this birth and death and get out of the cycle of this. Om Agnantimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine Namo Acharya Padaya Nitai Kupa Padayine Gaur Pratha Dhamadaya Nagar Gram Tarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutpadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagar Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam
Samaritam Parajasi
Taptakancha
Tapachanvaram Radhavindavana
Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam
Shri Radha
Shri
Krishna Pada
Radha Krishna Padan Sagar Rahitam
Sagarahita Shri Vishakam
Vishakhanvitasya हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Can I request you all to follow me? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Yam pravrajantamanupeta krutyam dvaipayano viraha katara ajuhava.
यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातराजुहाव।
पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदु तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि।
पुत्रेति तन्मयतया
तन्मयतया
तरोऽभिनेदुं तं
विनोदो
सर्वभूतहृदयं
परमभूतम्
मुनिमानतोऽस्मि।
मुनि वनस्पतिः
यः स्वानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपमतितितीर्षतां समोन्दम्।
स्वानुभाव
यास्वानुभावमखिलं सारमेवम्
सारमेकम्
अध्यात्मदीपमतीशतामदपो
आदिदीपम्
अन्यदम्।
आदिदर्शितां तमोदम्
संसारिणामकरुणयाः पुराणगुह्यम् तं व्याससुनुपयामि गुरुमुनीनाम्।
संसारिणां करुणया पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससुनुपयामि गुरुमुनीनाम्।
Sureka Mataji, could you lead us from here onwards?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare
विपदा सन्तु ता शाश्वत तत्र तत्र जगद्गुरु विपदा सन्तु ता
Satu
शाश्वत
sa saswat
तत्र
tatratam
तत्र
jagatguru.
जगद्गुरु भवतो दर्शनं यस्याद् अपुनर्भव दर्शनम् भवतो
Bhavato
दर्शनं
darshanam
यस्याद्
yasya
अपुनर्भव दर्शनम्
darshanam.
जन्मैश्वर्यश्रुति श्रीभिर्एदमानः मदः पुमान्
Janmaishwarya sruta
जन्मैश्वर्यश्रुतिभेदमानमदमपना
srivir
नैवाहर्त्यभिधातुं वै तं अकिञ्चन गोचरम्
naivahartyabhijatam
गोचरम्
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very
Go
much.
ahead, Mataji. Go ahead.
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमम्
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव
नरोत्तमम्
नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्
देवीं सरस्वतीं
Saraswati
व्यासं
vyasam tato
जयमुदीरये
jayamudire.
शृण्वता स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः
शृण्वतदा
Shrunvata
कृष्ण
sukatha krishnaha
हाँ
punya
हृद्यन्तःस्थो हि अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सताम्
Shantastoya Bhattari
भवानि
Vinoti Sudesata.
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया
Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu
भद्रेषु
nityam
नित्यं भागवत
bhagavata
सेवया
sevaya.
भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी
Bhavati
श्लोके
uttamashloke bhakti bhavati
भवति
naistiki.
नैष्टिकी
Thank you, Mataji. Thank
Thank you
you very much.
very much, Prabhu. Thank you.
These early morning vibrations of this sound are very auspicious. And when we are chanting, we are creating an atmosphere of auspiciousness in our own house. So today is the fifth canto, chapter 1st, verse 30. Let me organize myself. Madhubai Mataji, go ahead. You are the first one.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय यावद् अवभासयति सुरगिरिम् अनुपरिक्रामयन् भगवान् आदित्यो वसुधातलम् अर्धेनैव प्रतपति अर्धेन अवच्छादयति तदा हि भगवदोपासनविर उपचिता अतिपुरुष प्रभावः तद् अनभिनन्दन् समजवेन रथेन ज्योतिर्मयेन रजनीमपि दिनं करिष्यामीति सप्तकृद्वस्तरणिम् अनुपर्यक्राम द्वितीय इव पतंगः। थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
थैंक यू माता जी। श्रीनिवास राव प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। यावदवभासयति सुरगिरिम् अनुपरिक्रमान् भगवान् आदित्यो वसुधातलम् अर्थेनैव प्रतपत्यर्थे नाच्छादयति तदा हि भगवद् उपासनो उपचिताति पुरुष प्रभावस्तद् अनभिनन्दन् समजवेन रथेन ज्योतिर्मयेन रजनीम् अपि दिनं करिष्यामीति सप्तकृत्वस्तरणीम् पर्यक्रामात् द्वितीय इव पतंगः। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु।
थैंक यू अंजलि माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण। यावत् अभासयति सुरगिरम् अनुपरि
यावदवभासयति सुरगिरिम् अनुपरिक्रम।
श्रीनिवास राव प्रभु जी। थैंक यू अंजलि माता जी को है।
हरे कृष्ण। यावत् अभासयति सुरगिरम् अनुपरिक्रमण अर्धेन इव भगवान् आदित्यः वसुधातलम् अर्धेन इव प्रतपति अर्धेन अवाच्छादयति तदा हि भगवद् उपासना उपचिता अति पुरुषा प्रभवः तत् अनभिनन्दन समजवेन रथेन ज्योतिर्मयेन रजनीम् अपि दीनं करिष्यामि इति सप्तकृतवस्त्राणि अनुपर्यक्रमात् द्वितीयः इव पतंगः। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
थैंक यू माता जी। चित्रा मोहिनी देवीदासी जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। यावद्भव भासयति सुरगीर् अनुपरिक्रमान् भगवान् आदित्यो वसुधातला अर्थनैव प्रतापत्यर्थ न एवाच्छादयति तदा हि भगवत् उपासनो उपचिता अति पुरुष प्रभावस्त्यात् तत् अभिनन्दन समाजवेन रतेन ज्योतिर्मयेन रजनीमपि दिनं करिष्याम् इति सप्तकृत्वस्तरिण अनुपर्यक्रामा द्वितीय इव पतंगः। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
थैंक यू माता जी। मधुसोनी माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। यावद अवभासयति सुरगिरिमनु अपरिक्रामन भगवानादित्यो वसुधातलमर्धेनैव प्रतपत्यर्धेनावच्छादयति तदा हि भगवदुपासनो अपचिताति पुरुष प्रभावस्तद अभिनन्दन समजवेन रथेन ज्योतिर्मयेन रजनीमपि दीनं करिष्यामीति सप्तकृत्वस्तरणीमनुपर्यक्रामद द्वितीय इव पतंगः। थैंक यू प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्ण।
थैंक यू विजया कुमारी माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। यवात् अवभाष्यति शुरकरीम् अनुप्रक्रामन् भगवान् आदित्यो वसुधातलम् अर्थेन वै प्रदेपति अद्देशनवच्छादयति तत्याहि भगवत् उपासनो वशितादि पुरुष प्रबालं तत् अनभिवन्द समजनेन रथेन ज्योतिर्मणेन रजनी अभिदिनं करिष्यामिति शब्दकृत् वस्तरणीम् अनुपर्यक्रमात् द्वितीय इव पतंगः। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी। थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Thank you. Subbarao Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
यावदवभासयति सुरगिरिमनुपरिक्रामन् भगवानादित्यो वसुधातलमर्धेनैव प्रतपत्यर्थेनाच्छादयति तथा हि भगवदुपासनोपचिताति पुरुषप्रभावस्तदन विनन्दन् समजवेन रथेन ज्योतिर्मयेन रजनीमपि दिनं करिष्यामीति सप्तकृत्वस्तरणिमनु पर्यक्रामद्वितीय इव पतङ्गः. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु.
Thank you. Anyone left out? Revati Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी यवात्
Very good.
अववस्यादि सूरकृं अनिप्रक्रवान् भगवान् आदित्यो वसुधां तव अर्तनाव प्रतपदि अर्तनेव वच्चादयति तथा हि भगवत् उपासनो वरिदाति पुरुषं प्राभवस्तत्त अनबीवनन्तनं समाजवेनोरतने ज्योतिर्मयेन रजनी अभिदिनं करिष्यामीति सप्तकृतं वस्तरिणम् अनुवर्य क्रमाद्वतीय इव पतङ्गः. हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you. Anyone left out? Okay. Subbarao Prabhuji, can you read the synonyms for us?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Sure. Yavat, so long. Avabhasyati, illuminates. Suragirim, the Sumeru hill. Anuparikraman, by circumambulating. Bhagavan, the most powerful. Aditya, sun god. Vasudhatalam, the lower planetary system. Ardhena, by half. Eva, certainly. Pratapati, makes dazzling. Ardhena, by half. Avachadayati, covers with darkness. Tada, at that time. He, certainly. Bhagavat Upasana, by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Upasita, by satisfying him perfectly. Atipurusha, superhuman. Prabhavaha, influence. That Anabhinandan, without appreciating. Samajavena, by equally powerful. Radhena, on a chariot. Jyotimayena, dazzling. Rajanim, night. Api, also. Dinam, day. Karishyami, I shall make it. Iti, thus. Saptakrit, 7 times. Vastaranim, exactly following the orbit of the sun. Anuparya kramat, circumambulated. Dvitiyaha, second. Iva, like. Patanga, sun. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Subbarao Prabhuji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. While so excellently ruling the universe, King Priyavrata once became dissatisfied with the circumambulation of the most powerful sun god. Encircling Sumeru hill on his chariot, the sun god illuminates all the surrounding planetary system. However, when the sun is on the northern side of the hill, the south receives less light. And when the sun is in the south, the north receives less light. King Priyavrata disliked this situation and therefore decided to make daylight in the part of the universe where there was night. He followed the orbit of the sun god on a brilliant chariot and thus fulfilled his desire. He could perform such wonderful activities because of the power he had achieved by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There is a Bengali saying which describes that someone is so powerful that he can make the night a day and the day a night. That saying is current because of the prowess of Priyavrata. His activities demonstrate how powerful he became by worshipping the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Lord Krishna is known as Yogeshwara, the master of all mystic powers. In Bhagavad Gita 18.78, it is said, wherever there is the master of all mystic powers, Yatra Yogeshwara, Krishna, victory, fortune, and all other opulences are present. Devotional service is so powerful when a devotee achieves what he wants to accomplish. It is not by his own mystic power, but by the grace of the Master of mystic power, Lord Krishna. By his grace, a devotee can accomplish wonderful things, unimaginable even to the most powerful scientist. From the description in this verse, it appears that the sun moves according to the modern astronomers. It appears that the sun moves. According to the modern astronomers, the sun is fixed in one place, surrounded by a solar system. But here we find that the sun is not stationary. It is rotating in a prescribed orbit. This fact is corroborated by Brahma Samhita 5.52. Yasya Jitaya Brahmati. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Yasyadnaya Brahmati Samrita Kala Chakra. Yasyadnaya Brahmati Samrita Kala Chakra.
You remember the
entire
whole...
one? Yeah. Yasyadnaya Brahmati Samrita Kala Chakra. No, I missed. I forget. I forget
No problem. The sun is rotating in the fixed orbit in accordance with the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to... Yes, Santi Mataji, you remember?
Yes, ma Prabhuji. Prabhavato Jagadanda Kotim Kodishvashesha Vasudhadi Vibhuti Vinnam. Is that Mataji?
No. That Brahman.
Yes, Prabhuji. I will try one, Prabhuji. Jachakhyuresa Savita Sakala Grahana Raja Samasta Gramati Rase Sateja Jasya Gya Brahmati Sabruta Kalchakra Govindamadi Purusam Tamaham Bhajami.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji.
Do you remember the translation?
No, Prabhuji. I don't remember.
Okay. Sureka Mataji, you remember the translation?
It runs like that. Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti. The illumination that illuminates entire Brahmand emanates from the sun, which runs according to his wishes. Whose wishes? Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti. Means there are multiple universes and it illuminates all of them. Jagadanda Koti. Koti is crores. Jagadanda Koti, Kotishvashesha Vasudhadi Vibhuti Bhinnam. So there are multiple planets like Earth, Vasudhadi Bhinnam. So multiple planets it illuminates. Yasyad Naya Brahmati Samvrita Kala Chakra. The entire time circulates, moves as per his orders. That Govinda I worship. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhaja.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you for your, yeah, thank you. According to Jyotirveda, the science of astronomy in the Vedic literature, the sun moves for 6 months on the northern side of the Sumeru hill and for 6 months on the southern side. We have practical experience on this planet that when there is summer in the north, there is a winter in the south and vice versa. Modern materialistic scientists sometimes present themselves as knowing all ingredients of the sun, yet they are unable to offer a second sun like Maharaja Priyavrata. Although Maharaja Priyavrata devised a very powerful chariot as brilliant as the sun, he had no desire to compete with the sun god. For a Vaishnava never wants to supersede another Vaishnava. His purpose was to give abundant benefits in material existence. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that in the month of April and May, the rays of Maharaja Priyavrata's brilliant sun were as pleasing as the rays of the moon. And in October and November, both mornings and evenings, that sun provided more warmth than the sunshine. In short, Maharaj Priyavrata was extremely powerful, and his actions extended his power in all directions. So now we are moving into the further activities of Priyavrata from beyond ruling the universe. We understood in the last few verses that he accepted the advice of Brahma and accepted the order of his father, Swayambhuva, to rule on the universe and came out of his process of austerity and penances and continuing devotional service. What did we learn yesterday? Just brush it up. Yesterday, we were talking about two areas, the power of Priyavrata and enjoyment of Priyavrata. The power was Priyavrata ruled the universe for 11 arbudas, that 1110 billion, so that is 110 billion years, and conquered his enemies by the mere sound of his bow drawn by two strong arms. Just the sound was good enough to control all his enemies. The second part is the enjoyment. He greatly loved his wife Brihaspati by her feminine behavior of dressing herself, walking, smiling, and glancing about. She increased his joy. Thus, he appeared lost in the feminine conduct of his wife, but actually he was a great soul. And what did we learn today in our purpose? Well, if you talk in short, Priyavrata's chariot following the sun. So that's a great achievement. If A king's chariot is following the chariot of the sun god himself. Priyavrata once became dissatisfied with movement of the sun god around Mount Sumeru as he lit up half of the surface of the earth while the other half remained dark. Priyavrata followed the orbit of the sun god on a brilliant circle and thus fulfilled his desire of making night into a day. He could perform such wonderful activities by the dint of his worshipping the Lord Krishna. By the power of yoga, Priyavrata had two bodies, one as the king and the one as the sun. Priyavrata followed the sun not to compete with the sun, but to give happiness to the inhabitants of the earth. Because of the arrangement in the months like Jyeshtha, these are the hot months, the sun made by Priyavrata was cooler than the moon. And the cool months like Magshar or Magashirashas, cold months, the sun made by Priyavrata was warmer than the other suns, especially during the dawn and the dusk. So Srila Prabhupada is telling us in the purport extensively describing the activities and further achievements of Priyavrata. He starts with a Bengali saying that someone is so powerful that he can make day into night and night into day. This saying actually came from the prowess of Priyavrata. And he achieved this by simply worshipping the Supreme Lord. And Lord Krishna, remember, he is an Yogeshwara or master of all mystic powers. This we have learned in Gita so nicely. If we look at Bhagavad Gita, it does tell us in the concluding chapters at the end that 18.78, that's a precise verse, wherever there is the master of all mystic power, that is Lord Krishna, there are going to be victory, fortune, and opulences. You remember 18.78. Devotees accomplish the mystic powers and they successfully execute mystic powers, not because they owe this mystic power, but by the grace of the master of the all mystic power, Lord Krishna, they can certainly accomplish all the mystic powers on earth. So ultimately, the performer of all the mystic powers and possessor of all mystic powers is Yogeshwara himself or Lord Krishna. Western astronomers believe that sun is fixed in the solar galaxy. Initially, the Westerners found out that there is only one galaxy, and that is the Milky Way, and the solar system is the only existing system where the sun is fixed. Subsequently, as said in the Vedas 5, 10, 15,000 years ago, there are multiple galaxies, and these multiple galaxies, it is Antariksh, Brahmand. These are the words which were used. And remember, if you have solar system, probably in that system the sun is fixed and the rest of the planets are rotating around the sun. But this galaxy of solar system actually moves around other galaxies. And that's where sun is also moving along with its galaxy, along with its solar system in a prescribed orbit. So this is how the Vedas and our knowledge is far advanced than the very primitive and preliminary knowledge that exists in the Western world at the moment. We all know by now that the Earth doesn't have a vertical axis. It's not like a globe that rotates around a string on which it is attached and hanging. The Earth has an oblique axis, and the oblique axis actually is the reason why we have different seasons. We have a winter, we have a spring, we have a summer, we have a monsoon. These four systems of the seasons are because the Earth has an oblique axis. Since the axis is oblique at different times, the position of a particular part of the surface of the Earth is facing towards the sun or away from the sun. Where the surface is away from the sun is a winter, and where the surface is towards the sun, there is a summer. We all know that north has a summer when the south or southern globe has actually a winter, and so also vice versa. The point is that since the Earth moves on an oblique axis, it also rotates with what we call movement towards the sides. That's the northern side and the southern side. When it moves on the northern side, we call it Uttarayana. And when it moves on the southern side, we call it Dakshinayana. So we have all this knowledge gathered long back by our forefathers. And that's how we have the 14th January as Uttarayana, where we have our kite festivals. And so also Dakshinayana, somewhere in September. It has been the endeavor of human being for quite a long time to have a second sun so that a day could be created with the second sun at the place where there is a night. Actually, a typical phenomenon happens in the northern Arctic Circle. See, we have two polar systems on the Earth, the North Pole and the South Pole. The North Pole has a mass of land, and on that land there is a freezing cold. That's called as Arctic Circle. The countries like Finland, Sweden, Norway are in the Arctic Circle. This Arctic Circle is expanded all around, and thus the Soviet Union has their share of Arctic Circle, and United States has their share of Arctic Circle near Alaska. The beautiful part is that sun doesn't set on Arctic Circle for 6 months. And so you have a day for 6 months. If you happen to go to Moscow in March, I have been there, and at midnight around 2 o'clock, there is a nice sunshine. And so your orientation completely disappears when the night begins. The typical example is given in St. Petersburg, and they call these nights as white nights. So, in other words, these nights are illuminated nights, and that's why they can go on working throughout the night without any hindrance. They are popularly known as white nights, and white nights are a great celebration in those parts of the world. But mind you, the 6 months are when there is no sun. And that becomes really obviously a very, very damaging situation where people develop a lot of psychological disturbances, including great depressions. The reason I'm saying all this thing is simple, that man has nights. Nights are created by God, and our civilization considers it as an essential part of living because that's where you sleep and that's where you recuperate from all the damages to your body by the divine blessings and again become fit enough for the next day. People like China and Russia and even the United States are after making second sun so they can light up their country even during the night and there is no need of electricity. But still, it's not happening. Whereas in our scripture, we see that actually Priyavrata is creating a brilliant chariot and moves around the orbit around the Sumeru mountain and thus moves at the time of night when sun has completed its circle, creating a second sun for the illumination during the night. It's a beautiful story, nicely said in just one verse, and very, very encouraging story of what that certainly make us proud what our forefathers had achieved in their lifetime. Purport also says nicely in the last part of the last paragraph. Although Maharaja Priyavrata devised a very powerful chariot as brilliant as the sun, he had no desire to compete with the sun god. This is the basic concept of removing envy from the mind of the human being. And that's why it's said here that Vaishnava never wants to supersede another Vaishnava. The months given in the purport are mainly October and November when they are cold months, and May and April which are hot months, which is considered here as Bhakshar or Bhaksharika, and the Jyesht as the hot month. Bhaksharika is a cold month. So nice description and takes our imagination beyond understanding at times. But the imaginations are true and very scientifically based for arguments. It's very well said and very well really explained in such a short verse. Any question, any revelation, any addition, any queries on this beautiful purport? So, in other words, we learned today that King Priyavrata or Emperor Priyavrata, whatever you call it, created a second sun to have the illumination like the day, even at night. In the present day situation of scientific knowledge and the science, this itself is a great achievement, unthinkable by human beings at the moment. So probably our forefathers were far ahead of the process of thinking that we have now. And that's one of the reasons why we learn the scriptures early in the morning by waking up early before the sun rises. Any revelation, any addition, any... Yes, Subbarao Prabhuji, Surekha Mataji, where are you all? Hare Krishna.
Yes, you have explained it very well, Prabhu. So nothing to add from my side.
Would you like to add something?
No, Prabhu.
Subbarao Prabhuji. Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji.
No, Prabhuji, well explained, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
It is, yes, Mataji. Yes, Chitra Mohini Mataji.
Of course, I understood, Prabhuji, this is. But when following the orbit of the sun, can it reflect the sun rays to the other point? That I can't imagine. That's imagination. Is on the same.
In short, what Mataji... Yeah, in other words, what it's trying to tell is that a prescribed orbit of the sun takes the light to a particular area, and these prescribed orbits keep changing. So certainly there is one orbit which gives light to northern area and creates darkness in the southern area. There is a second orbit which creates a light in the southern area and darkness in the northern area. So when the sun moves in orbit 1, the sun of Priyavrata moves in orbit 2.
Okay.
And so you have light on both sides.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Does that make sense, Mataji?
Okay, Prabhuji.
There is another way also that... Thank you. There is another way, in the same orbit, you move at a different time. And that also reflects the light, even in the darkness.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Fine. If there are no further questions, no.
Prabhuji, Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you very
Prabhuji.
much, all of... Go ahead, Mataji.
Priyavrata's second son is far better than the sun because he is giving the moonshine, the cool summer days and warm winter days. That's what I thought, Prabhuji.
Yes. When the first thing is there, it just completes the basic necessity. When the second one comes, they have additional benefits, and that's why the second sun has those additional benefits. That it cools in the hot months and it warms up in the cold months. Yes, that's an additional advantage, Mataji. That's very true, Mataji.
That overcomes the disadvantages of the hot season, summer season, and winter season in extreme situations. So,
yes, Madhumai Mataji, that's true. Yes, Surekha Mataji. Thank you, Madhumai Mataji.
Prabhuji, I just got the translation and purport about that Yasya Prabha Prabhavato. Can I read it? Just
please.
I got
that
it
would
from
be
it.
wonderful.
Yes.
That
it
will
is
be wonderful.
translation is, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose effulgence is the source of the non-differentiated Brahman mentioned in the Upanishads, being differentiated from the infinity of glories of the mundane universe, appears as the indivisible, infinite, limitless, and truth. That is the translation given. And should I read the purport also? It is not very big.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, purport. The mundane universe created by Maya is one of the infinite external manifestations accommodating space, time, and gross things. The impersonal aspect of Godhead, the non-differentiated Brahman, is far above this principle of mundane creation. But even the non-differentiated Brahman is only the external effulgence emanating from the boundary wall of the transcendental realm of Vaikuntha, displaying the triquadrantal glory of Govinda. The non-differentiated Brahman is indivisible, hence is also one without a second, and is the infinite and residual entity. That is the purport. Difficult to
Thank
understand.
you very much, Mataji. That's what I was thinking. I was just thinking that thank God I prayed earlier so that I can understand at least some part of it. It's difficult to understand. We need to keep the concentration and digest it. Thank you very much for your
Hare
hard
Krishna.
work, Suneka Mataji. Thank you. It's for the benefit of all of us. So you are doing for the
Hare
benefit of entire people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fine. If there is nothing else, no addition, no revelation, I think we had enough of it. I call thank you very much. Thank you very much for attending the class. You have all been very lively people and always saying some or the other additions, which really keeps me going. There is a suggestion from Anjali Mataji and from Madhusoni Mataji that we put up the Bhagavad Gita slokas also, and I am learning that technique, and as soon as I learn through, we will also put up whatever reference is given in the Prabhupada's purport. We'll put up those as well from Bhagavad Gita. Thank you very much, all of you. Hare Krishna to all of you. Dandavat Pranam and my obeisances.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranam Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam,
Dhanyavad
Pranam.
Prabhuji.
Namo Namaha. Thank you, all of you. Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhuji, can you put that day
Sorry.
Bhagavatam verse in English?
You mean Srimad Bhagavatam? Oh, yes, I'll
Yeah.
do that. Yeah. In fact, I'm changing the entire thing. So next time when I come, it will be a new format of prayers. Certainly.